Normally I would say I don't want to talk about my hair, but you know what? F it. Let's talk about it. As you can see, I've got every quarantine mom's bun going on. I decided what better time than now to just grow my bangs out. They're getting a little too long where it's like they're in my eyes, but they're not quite long enough to really do like the swoop yet. So I just pinned them back. I don't care. I don't think you guys care. I'd be willing to bet that all of our hair looks like shit right now. I just thought maybe I should stop trying to cut my own bangs too, because we all know how that went. Now, well. Hi guys, my name's Angie. I'm the Soggy Granola mom. If you're new here and you don't know what Soggy Granola means, today's video might actually give you a little insight into what that is, but if you also want to check out my intro video, I will pop a card up at the top and you can check that out where I go into a little bit more depth. If you're not new here and you're coming back, I love you. Don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button, and do all that garbage. So for today's video, I kind of wanted to talk about my crunchy granola expectations for becoming a parent, like what I thought that was going to entail. And then I'm going to follow these expectations up with the soggy granola reality of what that actually looks like for me right now. Let's get into it. My list of crunchy granola expectations versus soggy granola reality. The first crunchy granola expectation I had for myself becoming a parent before my daughter was born was that I would breastfeed my baby until she was about a year old. I just had an idea in my head, like I'm gonna breastfeed, 1, because it's free, and 2, because it's good for the baby. Breast is best. We hear it all the time, right? So before she was born, I knew in my head, I'm gonna breastfeed. I bought pads that you stick in your bra. I bought a whole bunch of nursing bras. I was actually looking at nursing clothes, but I wanted to hold off on buying anything until I knew kind of what size I was at after the baby was born. I went through my insurance company and ordered a breast pump that was completely covered. I made myself all these lactation cookies when I was doing meal prepping for like freezer meals before the baby was born so that I wouldn't have to cook for a while. I made a whole bunch of cookie dough so that I could just take them out, bake when I needed, and go from there. And I'm not kidding. I made like 2 different varieties of probably like almost 100 cookies each. Like I intended to ride this out for a long time. I had everything planned. I was ready to go. My soggy granola reality was that I actually am 99% sure I have a condition called IGT, which stands for insufficient glandular tissue. No doctor diagnosed me with that. No lactation consultant diagnosed me with that. I actually scoured the internet because I was full of anxiety. So since I had a C-section, initially I thought the delay of my milk coming in was due to that and the fact that I was a first-time mom, as opposed to the fact that there was something actually wrong. And 12 days in, and I had seen a couple lactation consultants, blah, blah, blah. I scoured the internet and I found some information from other women, and what I experienced is the same thing that they experienced. So actually, little crunchy granola bonus, because I had to put her on formula pretty much from day one. One of my friends recommended this company called organicbabyfood.shop, and I went and checked it out, and they have European formulas, like stuff from the UK. I guess they're not European anymore. Brexit. Anyway, they have formulas that come from the UK and from Germany, and I'm not sure if there's anywhere else in there, but European standards for formula are much higher than what we have here. And there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get included in their formula like we have here, like corn syrup solids and soy and just certain different things that I really didn't want her having. So we did switch to a brand called Bioland, their Lebenswert. Now she's on stage 2. So even though I couldn't feed her breast milk, I did go above and beyond to make sure I was buying the best formula I could find for her that didn't have a bunch of additives and was made organically, you know, filled with everything she does need. So crunchy granola expectation number 2 was that I was going to wear my baby for hours a day and do stuff while she was nestled in close to me. So that way we could be close and kind of have that attachment parenting thing going on. But I could also get stuff done because I'm always thinking about productivity. The soggy granola reality was we did do this actually, but it lasted from about when she was 1 month until maybe 4 months, I think. I don't know. It all blends together sometimes. I didn't do it when she was first born because she was so little. That freaked me out to like put her in the sling, or not the sling, but one of those baby wraps. I was actually opposed to that wrap at first because I wanted something more structured, and I thought it would be easier to have something that Josh could also wear. But somebody gave me a boba wrap. My judgments about putting a baby in a piece of fabric went out the window because, like I said, when she was about 1 month old, I felt like she was a little bit bigger and more stable enough to put into something like that. And I got a lot of stuff done, and I got free baby snuggles while she took naps, and I was able to be productive. But by the time she was 4 months old, she was a little too big to fit in there. I think we could have still done it, but she was also getting more independent and more control over her body. So she did not want to be forced to be pressed up against my chest because she wanted to do her own thing. I suppose we gave up on that by the time she was big enough to be in the bouncer. So that might have even been before 4 months. She actually went into a bouncer at about 3.5 months old. She was already holding her head up really well. We just had to slip a book underneath there because she wasn't tall enough, even on the lowest setting. So yeah, we got a good 2.5 months in of the baby wearing life, and then it was all out the window. That girl is too independent, and if she does not want to be held, you're not gonna hold her. So this pertains to a recent video I posted. My crunchy granola expectation number 3 was that I was gonna make all of my own baby food. I was gonna cook it, puree it, jar it, and she was gonna eat it. And it was gonna be organic and the best stuff I could find. My soggy granola reality is that she seems to hate pretty much all vegetables unless she's really hungry or she's having a good day and she decides, all right, I don't hate this so much today. So I do still make baby food and I still attempt it, but I have resorted a lot to jarred baby food. The first bullet point on here is that I had the idea I was gonna buy organic. So I was like gonna buy the organic frozen vegetables. Quarantine happened, people panicked and bought a bunch of frozen and canned goods. So my options were pretty limited and I ended up buying a lot of conventional vegetables and fruits for her when around the time that I was like really trying to get more into making my own baby food. So it was kind of like, you're gonna take what you can get. Again, in that video, I pointed out it's not the end of the world if you feed your baby conventional over organic because the health benefits of eating any fruits and vegetables always outweighs the mild exposure to toxins they might have. And also frozen fruits and vegetables go through a washing process, so they're clean, and as much of that as possible is going to be removed anyways. So I threw that notion out the window. I still try to get organic when I can, but if I can't find it, I don't beat myself up about it. Bullet point number 2, I found that other than fruit, frozen veggies, not into it, like extra not into it. The second time I decided to prep vegetables for her baby food, you know, pureed or whatever, I was like, get rid of the frozen stuff. That's clearly not going over well with her. In my mind, I'm thinking part of it has to do with the flavor. It seems like the frozen fruits and vegetables, and I initially think, okay, this stuff's picked at its peak, so it's gonna be like really flavorful. Then I'm like, you know, every time you cook vegetables from fresh, it always tastes way better than getting frozen fruits and vegetables. So go ahead and try and do it from fresh. So I roast sweet potatoes and carrots from fresh, organic, put a little bit of unsalted Kerrygold butter in there, just a little bit to add a more complex flavor. Like the flavor is going to be robust. It smells amazing. I take a bite of each of them and I'm like, this is so good. I cook them in a cast iron skillet. I'm like, there's no way she's not gonna eat these. Puree it down, get that consistency really smooth and really close to the stuff we get out of the jar. Who gags and cries when I tried to feed her these roasted, delicious homemade vegetables. Somehow I've managed to get her to eat most of them out of my pure stubbornness. She's stubborn, but I'm more stubborn. I have to like trick her into it. A lot of times I have to resort to distracting her with toys or singing to her or making funny noises or blowing into her hair, and she gets all excited and I just, she opens her mouth and I pop it right in there. That's pretty much the only way I get her to eat any vegetables at all. The last bullet point on this is that I have indeed resorted to mostly jarred baby foods, much to my chagrin. I am not stoked about it. I really still want to make my own baby food, but she's getting to that point where she's learning how to feed herself. So we give her 1 egg in the morning that's scrambled up really well with her cereal, in which I include my homemade fruit. She will eat that. She's really trying to get that dexterity down, and once she's able to feed herself a little bit more skillfully, I know we're going to be moving on to more finger foods. So I feel like the baby food window is kind of coming to a close. I'm still going to keep trying in the meantime. It just depends on how much energy I have and what I've got to do that week if I feel like prepping vegetables for her. My fourth crunchy granola expectation was that I would cloth diaper my baby 100% of the time. I even went as far as registering for small wet bags. If you've watched my cloth diapering tutorial, I have like these big reusable liners for the diaper pail. Well, that same company makes like small zip up wet bags. Even though I don't use those bags for their intended purpose, they actually do still come in handy. I keep them in her diaper bag because if we're out and about and she has, a leak from a diaper or she throws up on her clothes or something, or we have an accident, I always have a place to kind of stick those dirty clothes. So it did work out that I got those. However, I'm not using them for their initial intended purpose. My soggy granola reality on that one is that we actually do cloth diaper her. I would say 90% of the time that we're at home. I'm not going to deal with poops in a cloth diaper when we're at someone else's house, when we are trying to buy groceries. Now it's not so much a problem because I never take her out of the house for things like errands with the pandemic going on, obviously. But when she would come with me grocery shopping, no, just not going to happen. I threw disposable diapers in that bag, and that's what we went with. Sometimes you just got to choose convenience over environmentalism, as terrible as that sounds. I feel kind of crappy saying that, to be honest, but there's just so much to do in a day that it's difficult to rationalize adding 3 extra steps to changing a diaper when I'm not at my house. But at home, the only time she's not wearing a cloth diaper is if she's got a diaper rash because we're constantly changing. I mean, we're on top of it anyways, but when she's got a rash, we're super on top of changing that diaper. We want her to stay dry, and it seems like those disposables absorb that moisture further away from her skin. And we're always using diaper cream on her when she has a rash. You don't want to get that on the cloth diapers, even though we do like the Viva paper towel, blah, blah. I'm rationalizing. It's just easier when she has a rash to stay on top of everything with disposable diapers. And then recently I started putting a disposable on her at night because it seems to hold the urine better and she doesn't wake up soaking wet from leaks with the cloth diapers. I generally don't have a lot of problems with cloth diapers leaking, but at nighttime seems to be where it is the biggest problem. My 5th crunchy granola expectation was that I'm not going to go to an office 3 days a week, so I'm going to have time to meal prep for myself, be better about sorting my recycling bin, maybe build a compost bin in the backyard so that we would be producing even less waste. And I didn't have to worry about an office job taking time out of my week so I could actually do those things. My soggy granola reality is that I spend my entire morning feeding my baby, prepping food for her, like bottles or cooking her eggs and cereal in the morning, trying to fit in breakfast for myself, and by the time I wrap up my chores, like washing her diapers, throwing in a load of laundry, it's usually noon, so I've got to try and squeeze in lunch for myself so I don't pass out. I mean, I don't even have time to sit down and work on my own projects for my business or for YouTube or whatever until sometimes between noon and 2. And then next thing I know, 4 p.m. rolls around and it's time to start cooking dinner. I'm not really sure why I thought I would have more time and be less busy with a newborn and while also trying to run a freelance business. But I'm definitely not less busy. It's quite the opposite. I really feel like there's just never enough time in the day. So, in the evenings, I'm lucky after dinner and cleanup to maybe play Animal Crossing for a little while, which that game is ruining my life, by the way. How many of you guys can relate to that? I don't have enough time in the day, and yet I still somehow manage to squeeze in time to check turnip prices in the morning and in the afternoon. That's a different video for a different day. Maybe it shouldn't be a video. I don't know. I can't devote any more of my life than I already do to Animal Crossing. But yeah, what it boils down to is there's a lot to get done and very little time to manage to do it all, but we try our best, right? Maybe someday I'll get that compost bin built up in the backyard, and sometimes I just contemplate throwing banana peels in the pile in the backyard. I don't think my neighbors would appreciate that if the squirrels were dragging those all over the neighborhood though. All right, I kind of wanted to leave you guys with a bonus reverse. I don't know if you're familiar with attachment parenting, but it is a very crunchy granola thing in my mind. The three main anchors of what attachment parenting are baby wearing, as we discussed before, breastfeeding, as we also discussed before. Both didn't work out for us very long. And the last one is bed sharing or co-sleeping technically, but that can be different things to different people. So co-sleeping, technically, I guess we did that because we did have her sleep in our bedroom for a few months, but a lot of the crunchy granola people believe in like bed sharing co-sleeping, like baby in the bed with you. This is controversial. There are a lot of supposed benefits to it, but I did not want her in our bed with us because the thought of potentially rolling over on her or her getting trapped under a blanket or something freaked me out. But there was a period of time where our crunchy granola reality, even though I didn't want it, was that she wouldn't fall asleep unless she was on top of one of us or in the bed with us. She wouldn't fall asleep. So I took every precaution I could. We ended up having like a little bed bassinet for her, and we stuck it between us. We have a king size bed, so we were able to fit her in the middle, and then we each had our own blankets on either side of her so that we weren't pulling a blanket across her or anything. I still to this day feel uncomfortable thinking about the fact that we shared a bed with her when she was so little, just because of all the risks associated with it. But there was no other way she was going to get sleep, which meant there was no way we were going to get sleep. We did actually have a super crunchy 4-week period where we were bed sharing / co-sleeping with our baby girl. But as soon as she was over that, I was like, back in the bassinet, baby. And she slept in our room for 5 months. And then we moved her into her crib in her room, which was a perfect seamless transition, to be honest. I could not have asked for that to go better than it did. It was amazing. All right, guys, that's it for me today. If you guys want to comment down below with your parenting expectations versus the reality of how that worked out for you, I would love to hear that. I know we all have these ideas before we become parents of how we're going to do things, and life is life, and a lot of times things just don't work out exactly how you envision them. So I hope you can relate to this, and I hope it gave you a little bit of a laugh about maybe my overambitious expectations of becoming a mom. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Deuces. Hi guys, my name's Angie.